arms work just as hard as our legs. Fire up your triceps.
Your hips are dipping, always the option to come down to the knees.
Not as a weakness, but as a sense of strength, something that's empowering.
Namaste.
Hi yogis, it's Katy Gassaway. I want to talk to you today about some of my favorite poses for when I travel. I know you guys, if you know me, I love to travel. And one of the most frequent requests I get for videos is because people are traveling, so they're not going to be able to come to my class or practice yoga. They want to know things they can do, maybe while they're on a layover at the airport or when they get back to the hotel or after a long car ride, some of the stretches that I recommend. So these are my top 5 favorite travel poses. So probably one of my favorites to do after I get off a plane or if I've been sitting a long time is a wide-legged forward fold with a little side stretch added. So my hamstrings are usually really tight, so taking the feet nice and wide. Feet can be parallel or slightly out to the sides. I prefer parallel. You're just gonna start to hinge from your hips, and if you're really tight, if you've been sitting a long time, feel free to take a generous bend to the knees. Inhale to lengthen the spine, and exhale to deepen. Then once you find a nice deep fold, however feels comfortable for your legs, maybe just starting to walk the hands to one side. You can reach for your ankles, kind of twist through your upper spine a little bit. If you prefer, you can ground one hand in the middle, take the other hand to your low back, get a little twist that way, maybe open the arm up to the side, and just take a few breaths on each side, twisting, lengthening the side body. When you're ready to switch, walking back through the center, taking your hands over to the other side. Again, feel free to bend the knees if you need to as you deepen. If you're feeling a little tight, same options on this side. If you want to take the other hand to the middle, opposite hand to the back, or up to the sky, get a nice little twist. So lengthening out through the side body, opening up through the backs of the legs. When you're ready, just rising back up to center. Same kind of thing for being seated a long time. My hips get really, really tight too. So one of my favorite things to do when I'm sitting in the airport, you know, it's fun to do yoga in airports and public places. You get all kinds of crazy looks. One of my favorites when I get off the plane or when I'm sitting there waiting to board is yogi squat. So you can come down low, feet wider than hip width distance, toes point same directions as your knees, slightly out. If you're super tight, like a lot of guys, they tend to like to stay up higher, maybe rest the forearms on the top of the thighs, that's fine too. If you have something you can sit on, maybe your carry-on bag or something like that, your backpack, you can always sit on something if your hips need a little more support. If your arms can come into your inner thighs, hands maybe come to heart center, and then you can kind of press into your inner thighs, get even more stretch in that area. And you can add a little twist here too. I love to twist when I'm traveling. I just get so stiff sitting upright for so long. So if you want to drop one hand down, press into that inner thigh that you still have contact with, open up through the chest, get a nice little shoulder stretch too. Come back to center when you're ready. Switching out, evening out your sides. So kind of stretching the hips, the shoulders, low back, all at the same time, and then coming back to center. So that's a little yogi squat option with a twist. Second pose of my top 5. My next favorite pose is gonna be half pigeon. So again, sitting a long time, hips get really, really tight. You can do standard half pigeon. I'll also show you supine half pigeon if you're a little bit tight in the hips or you have knee issues. So for half pigeon, one leg is gonna come forward, so right now my right shin is forward. Your shin can be maybe more parallel towards the top of your imaginary mat that you probably don't have since you're traveling, unless you travel with a mat like I do. Or your shin may be more towards your hip flexor or your hip. That's totally fine either way. Other leg is long behind you, and then maybe you fold down. I also have a half pigeon tutorial if you want a little bit more explanation on what half pigeon looks like. So you can come down as low as it feels good. We're stretching through the outside of this right hip. If you prefer to stay lifted up a little bit higher, maybe get a little heart opener too at the same time, you can do that. Also a little bit of hip flexor stretch through this other hip, and then just being sure to do both sides on your half pigeon if you're doing it that way. I'll demonstrate the other side with supine pigeon. So if we're doing it on our backs, again, if we have knee issues, this is a really nice option. We're gonna come down onto the back, cross your ankle over your thigh, flex your toes towards your face, take your left hand through the center, grab the outside of your right leg, or whichever leg is on the floor, hug the knees into the chest. So still stretching through the outside of that hip, getting a nice opening, freeing up any tension from long car rides or long flights. And then when you're ready, coming back down and releasing. And since we're on our backs, we'll continue with my next favorite travel pose, which is supine twist. So like I said, I love to twist when I'm traveling. Twisting is also really good for your digestive system, and I know if you're like me, it's kind of hard to eat like you do at home when you're on the road or you're in a hotel. So sometimes we tend to have tummy issues. It's good for clearing those up. So starting, inhale, hug your right knee into your chest, left leg is out long on the floor, and then we're just gonna take the right knee over to the left side, right arm out to a T, get a nice little stretch through the outside of the hip, through the low back. Keep the right shoulder on the floor to prevent any tweaking or twisting in your low spine. It doesn't need to be there. And then just hold and breathe. Allow gravity to do most of the work. Left hand is just kind of there to guide that thigh over. It's not pulling or forcing. Feel free to stay here as long as you want. When you're ready to switch, bringing both knees back to center, hugging them into your chest. Right leg goes long. Inhale, draw your left knee towards your armpit. Exhale, supine twist, take it across to your right side. Left arm again can come out to a T. Depending on how your neck feels, you can look either straight up or maybe starting to look towards your left side if it feels okay in your upper spine and your neck. Allowing yourself to breathe and release. This may not be the best one to do like in an airport or something like that because you gotta lay on the floor. But if you have a mat with you, it's not that big of a deal to lay on the floor in the airport. I've done it before. Let yourself relax, and when you're ready, coming back through center, knees to chest. Now, my last favorite thing that I want to show you guys that I really recommend while traveling is legs up the wall. My favorite thing to do when I'm in a new city is to just walk around and get lost and explore, and you can walk miles and miles and miles doing that. So, even if you're not walking a lot, we tend to get really tight when we're sitting for so long. Like I mentioned, you get a lot of blood pooled in your feet. If you're like me on long flights, maybe your feet swell. So for legs up the wall, we kind of shimmy our way up against either a wall or maybe the hotel bed or wherever we can find the glass in the terminal. That's always fun, right? They love it when you leave footprints on the airport windows. Wherever you can get your feet over your heart, knees can be bent if our hamstrings are really tight. Otherwise, legs can go a little straighter. And then just allow your blood flow to reverse. So those swollen feet, swollen ankles that happen while we're sitting on the plane with the air pressure changes, all that stuff is gonna start to reverse its flow back in towards our heart to get freshly oxygenated blood when we stand up. It's also going to help our lymph system to clear out any junk that might be stored in our bodies while we're traveling. So just letting yourself lay and relax at the end of your day after a long day of walking around and eating foods you probably wouldn't be eating at home. It's just a nice way to relax. You might feel your feet get a little bit tingly. That's normal. It's just your blood flow kind of going out of your feet. It's that pins and needles sensation when your joints go to sleep. So when you're ready to come out after you've had enough of that pins and needles, just bending your knees, you can rock your way over onto one side, let your blood flow stabilize, take a couple breaths, and then make your way up to a seat, and then go to bed and enjoy the rest of your travels. I hope that those poses helped y'all and enjoy them while you travel. If you have any of your own favorite travel poses, I'd love to know about them, let me know. But those are some of my favorites, so try them out, see how you feel, and take care of your body while you're on your journey.